Feel the breeze where the dreams don't stop. Sailing high in the metro hub spot. Where next metro where the stories flow. Casting light on the life we know. Talking homes, talking lives we build. Every episode leaves you thrilled. Kick back, relax, let your worries go. You're tuned in now to the Metro Show.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we grab a whole stack of reports, articles, data, whatever we can find.
Yeah, piles of it sometimes.
Exactly. And we don't just, skim the headlines. We really dive in. We're looking for those hidden insights, the surprising connections, the stuff that makes complex information actually make sense, maybe even interesting.
Hopefully. And today, we're tackling the Tampa Bay real estate market. We've got data covering July 2025.
Right. Our mission really is to take this data dump and boil it down to the essential nuggets you need to know.
Exactly. We want to give you that shortcut to being genuinely informed about what's happening with housing right now. We've gone through a big 4-week market report covering multiple counties and also some specific articles digging into Pinellas County.
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Whether you're out there actively looking to buy or maybe thinking about selling, or maybe you're just really curious about the market.
Which a lot of people are.
Right. Understanding these numbers is more than just stats. It's about getting a feel for the real dynamics. You should walk away with a much clearer picture than any single headline can give you.
Agreed.
So let's start broad. Tampa Bay area, single-family homes. This is looking at the 4 weeks ending July 30th, 2025. What's the big picture?
Okay, so across the region, we saw 5,936 active listings for single-family homes. Almost 6,000.
Wow. So what does that number just straight off tell you?
It says buyers have choices. This isn't that crazy low inventory market from, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It definitely shifts the balance a bit.
Okay.
And connected to that, we had 4,316 pending listings. Those are homes under contract.
Right.
And 3,536 actually closed, sold.
And you also mentioned some other categories, canceled and off-market.
Yeah, and that shows the market's fluidity. Over 1,300 listings were canceled, 1,333 exactly, and 381 came temporarily off the market. That's a lot of decisions being made, homes coming on, going off.
It really paints a picture of constant motion. Now, those daily market changes, they give us a real-time pulse, don't they?
They absolutely do.
So you see an average of 204 new listings hitting the market each day. Okay, sounds active. But then 434 price decreases daily compared to only 52 price increases.
Yeah.
What's that telling you about seller mindset right now?
That screams adjustment.
Yeah.
Sellers are clearly having to become more competitive. It's not just a few here and there. That's a really strong signal that asking prices are meeting resistance and sellers are responding.
Okay, so sellers adjusting. What about the actual sales comparing this year to last? That 7-day comparison you mentioned.
Right, so looking at that last week, July 24th to 30th, 2025, the total sales volume for single-family homes across Tampa Bay was just over $506 million. That came from 946 sales.
Okay, $506 million. How does that stack up?
Well, compared to the same period last year, July 23rd to 29th, 2024, it's definitely down.
Yeah.
Last year saw over $572 million in volume from 1,044 sales.
So fewer sales and less money changing hands overall for single-family homes year over year.
Exactly. A noticeable dip for the region as a whole. It points towards a cooler market this year. Buyers definitely seem to have more leverage than last year.
All right. What about the condo market? Let's shift gears there. Same period, Tampa Bay overall.
Okay, condos. The 4-week totals are smaller. Naturally, we had 1,777 active listings, 775 pending, and 579 sold. Also 517 canceled and 115 temporarily off market. Similar pattern, just smaller scale.
And the daily changes, did they mirror this single-family trend?
Pretty much, yeah. 45 new condo listings daily, but 78 price decreases versus only 4 price increases.
Wow, even fewer increases there. So condo sellers feeling the pressure too, it seems.
It looks that way. And the 7-day sold comparison for condos really drives that home.
Okay.
For July 24-30 this year, the volume was about $53.2 million from 138 sales.
Then last year?
Last year, same period, over $94.3 million from 188 sales.
Oof, that's a big drop. Significantly lower volume and fewer sales for condos too.
A really significant drop, yeah. So the big takeaway for Tampa Bay overall, both single-family and condos, is generally lower sales activity compared to July 2024. A broad adjustment seems to be underway.
Okay, now here's where things get a little tricky. Fascinating, but tricky. Pinellas County. We have different reports telling slightly different stories for July 2025.
Right. This is where digging into the details matters.
So one perspective we found describes the Pinellas single-family market as balanced.
Yes. And the data points supporting that view are things like 5 months of inventory. Generally, 4 to 6 months is considered balanced, so 5 fits right in.
Okay, makes sense.
It also cites a sold-to-list price ratio of 96% or 95.9% in the more detailed RPR report we looked at.
Meaning home selling on average for about 96 cents on the dollar of the asking price.
Exactly. And the median days on market in that balanced view is 41 days. Pretty reasonable. Not lightning fast, but not languishing either.
And the RPR report, that's the realtor's property resource, right? A tool agents use a lot.
Correct. It often has more granular data.
So digging into that specific report, it gives a median estimated property value for Pinellas in July 2025 of $455,000.
And it knows a tiny uptick from the previous month, but actually down 3.4% over the last year.
Interesting. It also shows 370 new listings in July, with a median list price of $469,000.
Right. And the active listings at that time, 4,322 of them, had a median list price of $499,000 and had been on the market a median of 77 days, according to that RPR system.
Okay, and crucially, what about the sold data from that same RPR report?
In that report, for July, 983 properties sold. The median sold price was $420,000. They sold it at 95.9% of list price we mentioned,
Right.
and fed a median of 41 days on the market. Again, aligning with that balanced feel.
But wait, there's another data point in there, sold public records.
Yeah, interestingly, it also pulls public records data for sales, showing 279 properties sold with a median price of $399,900, slightly lower than the MLS reported median sold price.
Okay, so all those numbers, 5 months inventory, 96% sale to list, 41 days on market. Median sold around 400K, 420K. They paint that balanced picture.
They do. It feels consistent within that data set.
But then we have another source, also looking at Pinellas single-family homes in July 2025, labeling it a buyer's market.
Yes. And this is where you see the potential for confusion if you only look at one source.
So what data does this report use to justify a buyer's market?
Well, the big one is inventory. It claims 9.24 months of inventory.
Whoa, wait. 9 months compared to 5 in the other report. That's a huge difference.
It's a massive difference. Over 6 months usually signals a buyer's market, so 9 months would definitely fit that definition.
Okay, what else is different in this buyer's market report?
The sold-to-list price ratio is lower at 94%.
Okay, a bit lower.
And the median days on market is significantly longer at 72 days.
72 versus 41, again, quite different.
And here's the really striking difference.
Yeah.
The median sold price cited in this report is $249,000.
$249,000. Compared to $420,000 in the other report, how is that even possible for the same county in the same month?
It's wildly different. This report also notes inventory is up 6% month over month and a whopping 214% year over year.
Okay, so expert, help us out here. How can you, the listener, possibly make sense of this? 2 reports, same place, same time, balanced versus buyers, median prices, hundreds of thousands apart. Is one just wrong?
It's a really important point. And the answer is likely not that one is simply wrong. It highlights just how critical methodology is.
How so?
Well, they might be pulling data from slightly different sources. Maybe one relies more heavily on MLS data, the other more on public records, which can lag or capture different transaction types. Maybe their exact date cutoffs for July were slightly different. Maybe they calculate days on market or months of inventory using slightly different formulas or definitions. That median price difference is particularly stark. It makes you wonder if one report includes, say, manufactured homes or specific distress sales that the other filters out, or perhaps focuses on a different geographical slice within Pinellas.
So the definitions matter. A lot.
Hugely. Without knowing the exact methodology behind each report, it's hard to say definitively why they differ so much. But the key takeaway for you, listener, is seeing this complexity. You now understand that market conditions aren't always a single, simple number. You've seen different angles, and that gives you a much more nuanced view.
Right. You're better equipped to ask questions about where the data comes from if you see conflicting headlines.
Precisely. You know that the source and method really matter.
Okay, that Pinellas puzzle is a great example of why we do this deep dive. Now let's try to get a consistent view using our main 4-week regional report and look at each county, including Pinellas again, just using that source for single-family homes.
Good idea. Sticking to one consistent source for comparison across counties makes sense.
So back to Pinellas, using that 4-week report data,
Mhm.
what did it show for sold, pending, active?
Okay, in that specific report, Pinellas had 710 single-family homes sold in the last 4 weeks,
Uh-huh.
851 pending, and 1,287 active.
And the 7-day sold volume comparison for Pinellas in that report.
He showed just over $105 million from 172 sales. That was a bit lower than last year's $113.8 million from 195 sales. So following the regional slowdown trend, but maybe not as sharply as the overall average.
Okay. Now let's go north to Pasco County. Single-family homes, same 4-week report.
Right, Pasco. They had 716 sold, slightly more than Pinellas in this period,
Interesting.
848 pending, and 1,155 active. Their 7-day volume was nearly $77 million from 187 sales.
And compared to last year?
Also down. Last year was over $90.5 million from 206 sales. So Pasco's cooling off too, following the pattern.
Hillsborough County, the big one, in terms of population, how did they fare?
Yeah, Hillsborough leads in raw numbers. Over the 4 weeks, 1,059 sold,
Okay.
1,363 pending, and 1,859 active listings.
But did the volume follow the trend?
It did. Even with those higher counts, the 7-day sales volume dipped. It was just over $151 million from 291 sales this year, compared to about $169 million from 322 sales last year. So, yes, a noticeable decline there, too.
Okay, heading south now. Sarasota County, single family.
Sarasota. They had 558 sold, 634 pending, and 836 active. Now, here's where it gets interesting again.
Oh. Did they buck the trend?
They did, slightly. Their 7-day sold volume was almost $92.5 million from 156 sales. That was actually higher than last year's $91.2 million, even though last year had slightly fewer sales at 140.
Huh. So more dollar volume wait, no, more sales this year too. 156 versus 140. Okay, so Sarasota single family showing some strength.
Yeah, one of the few spots where we saw a year-over-year volume increase in this report suggests maybe stronger local demand or a different price segment performing well.
Fascinating. And the last county for single-family homes, Manatee.
Manatee County. They reported 493 sold, 620 pending, and 799 active.
Back to the trend.
Back to the trend. Their 7-day volume was just over $80 million from 140 sales, which was down from last year's pretty strong $107.7 million from 181 sales. So Manatee also saw a slowdown.
Okay. That covers single-family homes across the board, using that consistent report. Now let's do the same for the condo market, starting back in Pinellas.
Right, Pinellas condos. Significant market there. The 4-week report showed 255 sold, 338 pending, and 804 active.
And the 7-day volume, another surprise.
Actually, yes. Similar to Sarasota single family, the Pinellas condo 7-day volume was just under $33 million from 69 sales. That's up from last year's roughly $29 million, even though last year saw more units sold, 81 units.
So higher dollar volume, despite fewer transactions in Pinellas condos. Interesting resilience there, too.
It is. Suggests maybe higher price condos are selling or prices held up better year over year in that segment.
What about Pasco County condos? Much smaller market.
Much smaller, yeah. Only 31 sold in 4 weeks, 51 pending, 94 active. Their 7-day volume was tiny, just over $1 million from 8 sales, slightly down from last year's $1.36 million, also from 8 sales. Pretty stable, just low volumes.
Got it. Hillsborough condos.
Hillsborough saw 121 condos sold, 171 pending, 333 active. Now, their 7-day volume, this is a big change, just under $5 million from 23 sales this year.
Okay, compared to last year.
Last year was nearly $20 million from 31 sales.
Wow. That's a huge drop in dollar volume for Hillsborough condos, almost 75% down.
A really significant decline, yeah.
Yeah.
Suggests either much lower prices, a shift away from luxury condos, or both.
Okay, and Sarasota condos, did they follow Hillsborough's big drop?
They did, unfortunately. Sarasota had 96 sold, 128 pending, 320 active. The 7-day volume was just under $8 million from 17 sales.
And last year.
Last year. Nearly $35 million from 41 sales.
Goodness. Another massive drop in volume there, from $35 million to $8 million year over year.
Yeah, Sarasota and Hillsborough condo markets saw really substantial drops in sales volume compared to last July.
Finally, Manatee County condos.
Manatee reported 76 sold, 87 pending, 226 active. Their 7-day volume was just under $6.5 million from 21 sales.
Following the downward trend.
Yes, lower than last year's $9.6 million from 27 sales. Not as drastic as Hillsborough or Sarasota, but still a clear decline.
Phew. Okay, that was a marathon through the county data. Let's try and synthesize this. What are the main takeaways?
Well, the big one is consistency in the overall trend. For most counties and most property types, active listings are plentiful.
Buyers have options.
Right, but pending sales, Closed sales, and especially the total dollar volume, are generally lower in July 2025 compared to July 2024. The market is, broadly speaking, less active than it was a year ago.
But with key exceptions, right? Sarasota single-family and Pinellas condos showed some year-over-year volume increases.
Exactly. Those exceptions are important because they hint at specific local factors, maybe certain price points, neighborhoods, or types of properties are still in high demand there, bucking the regional cooldown.
And the price adjustments, all those decreases we saw in the daily numbers.
That's a crucial piece of the puzzle. The sheer number of price decreases, 434 daily for single family, 78 for condos across Tampa Bay versus so few increases, tells us sellers are definitely feeling the need to adjust their expectations to meet the market. Power has shifted more towards buyers, and that whole Pinellas situation with the conflicting reports.
Yeah, the balanced versus buyer's market thing.
It just perfectly illustrates how vital those metrics like months of inventory and days on market are, but also how important it is to know how they were calculated and what data they're based on.
Right, a single number doesn't tell the whole story. You need context.
Absolutely. And hopefully, by seeing all these different data points, the broad trends, the county specifics, the conflicting, it signals you, the listener, now have that richer, more nuanced context.
So we've plunged into the data, pulled out the key trends, highlighted the exceptions, and even navigated some confusing signals. The goal was to make you truly well-informed about the Tampa Bay housing market as of July 2025.
And hopefully you can now take these regional patterns and county details and think about how they might relate to your specific area of interest or your own buying or selling plans. What stood out most to you? Which pieces of data seemed most relevant?
And maybe one final thought to leave you with. We've seen this mix of data sales volumes mostly down, but inventory levels varying, conflicting price signals in some areas, clear price reductions elsewhere. What underlying economic forces do you think these numbers are hinting at? Is it mostly interest rates? Is it local job growth or lack thereof? Insurance costs? Consumer confidence? What should you be watching for in the data next month to see how the story develops?